Welcome to Level Up, a podcast for independent artists navigating the Asian music industry. I'm your host, Giselle Koh. I'm a music journalist, the founder of platform Asian Pop Weekly, and an all-around Mandopop nerd. Join me in taking control of your career as an artist, and I'll show you how to make the most of it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Level Up podcast. I don't know if I'm supposed to be sad, but I'm actually pretty excited to announce that this is actually going to be the last episode of the Level Up podcast for this season. I know seasons are pretty arbitrary, but based on what I've planned for this podcast and after doing topics on positioning, social media, distribution, I kind of felt like this was a good place to take a little break. Give you guys some time to go over all the previous content that we've put out, and then we can kind of reconvene and see what's coming for season 2. I think most people who do podcasts, they actually release it on a much more frequent schedule than I do, usually about once a week. But for me, honestly, every month has already been a big challenge for me, but I'm really proud of myself that I pulled through, especially with all the other stuff I do with Asian Pop Weekly and also my full-time job and other projects on the side. But I think for me, it was a challenge in that I've actually tried to create podcasts before. It's always been an interest for me to want to create a podcast and engage with audiences in this way, but I've never really got the chance to get one off the ground. It was always failure to launch, and I think the reason behind that was I didn't have the right idea. The idea didn't match with the amount of time I could put into it, and it wasn't really something that I was super, super confident talking about. And so I really, really put a lot of time and effort into planning this podcast about 6 months before I even released the first episode. And actually I feel like that is the key to the longevity of this podcast. And really now 10 episodes in, I honestly feel like I don't see the end. I don't see the finish line. I'm still really excited for what's to come for this podcast. And I'm also really excited to see everyone so supportive of this podcast, because I didn't know what response I was going to get when I began the podcast. I just felt like I have stuff to say and I want to say it. And I wanted it to kind of be like a coffee session with you guys, because over the years, I've met a lot of artists, made friends with a lot of artists, and honestly, those coffee sessions with them where they tell me a little bit about their problems or what they want from their career, those conversations are what excite me. And I wanted to be able to amplify those conversations and provide support to more artists out there, which is, I guess, the whole theme of the Level Up podcast, providing support for independent artists on their journey, especially within the Asian music industry. So thank you so much to everyone who's listened so far. I really, really appreciate your support, and also everyone who's given me positive feedback about the podcast. You didn't have to, but I really, really appreciate it, and please keep it coming. I would also really like to thank our supporters and collaborators for this season of the podcast. It would not have been here without the help of all these people from the side who were cheering me on and giving me support and advice where I needed it the most. Basically, you know who you are. And obviously, the collaborators, the people who were willing to take out time to be interviewed by me, to be featured on this podcast. I really, really had a great time chatting with each and every one of you and gaining a new insight onto the music industry in Asia. And so thank you so much for taking the time to be on this podcast and to be part of it. And of course, to our first sponsor, Unison Eyewear, thank you for taking a chance on this podcast as well. Now, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about on this very last episode of season 1 of Level Up podcast, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do it on, because obviously a few of our topics that we've done in the past, they take quite a few episodes to unpack, and now I only have one episode. But I also wanted to make it something special, something that really resonated with what we wanted to do on this podcast. And so I decided to do it on a theme which is very important to me, and that is independence. So why is independence so important to me? basically, I think I've had a very interesting journey in the music industry where basically everything that I've ever accomplished, it literally came out of nowhere. As in, I relied on myself to level myself up, to find the connections that I needed, and to get to where I am today. And I'm not saying that to like up myself. I just feel like I know deep down how empowering it can be to do things your way. And I absolutely love that feeling. I'm obsessed with that feeling. And that's why I continue to do the things and navigate this music industry in a way which is very unconventional, because that's the feeling that fuels my creativity and like challenges me the most, more so than like any other company, any other like program ever could. So that's basically why independence is so important to me, and I really hope that I can also kind of share that in a way that translates to artists, because as a result of my research and like my experience within the music industry, I feel like especially within that context, for artists, independence is super, super important. And the reason for that is that I feel the music industry today, it's not built to help artists. And I know there are resources out there. I know there are people out there who are there to support artists. But I'm just saying, on the whole, it is still like a system which aims to exploit artists for money, or it's built on skill in a way where it doesn't protect artists. And especially now in this digital era where everyone is having trouble navigating it, or like really just trying to find out the best way to even just break even or to make money in this way, supporting artists has become less of a priority than ever before. But at the same time, I feel like the fact that everything is digital now, it actually democratizes the process for independent artists. And that's something that I also find very exciting, in that you no longer do you have to rely on record labels to give you the support that you need. They are also, in some senses, struggling to keep up. And especially for those younger artists out there who are born with this knowledge of technology, use that to your advantage. Like, you are ahead of the game because you can see things differently from other people. And that's something that's really, really important. And you should really use that to get ahead in this industry and like build your audience, and really truly engage with them in a way that big labels can no longer do for artists. Because previously, I think the model was not as complex. It was not as, the market was not as cluttered with offerings. But now we have this whole plethora of offerings in front of us. So much music that's coming out every day. And in every single country, you are able to access those different kinds of music. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to look at what's advertised and definitely I'm going to listen to that just because it was advertised to me. Consumers are so different nowadays. Listeners have so much choice, and they also are more cognizant of what they want from their music listening. And if you are able to tap into that audience, I think that is something that is very powerful. And as I said before, I don't think it's 100% reliant on what labels or bigger companies can do for you. And I've also done a lot of research about the Asian music industry, and obviously I've worked in this industry and observed this industry for over 10 years now. And the conclusion that I've come to when it comes to what is it that's going to make this industry grow and prosper is it's always going to be the artist. You are in such a powerful place to create change because we depend on you for output. You are the ones that foster creativity and bring new sounds into the industry. And at the same time, I feel like if we can empower you as artists to not only understand the creative aspect and really pioneer that for this industry, if we could also get you to be empowered and understand the decisions that need to be made or in order for you to get to another level on your journey, I think that's something that's really, really going to give you a head start. And I know it's a lot to ask, but from speaking with so many artists, I just feel like I wouldn't ask if I didn't believe that it was the best way forward, and if I didn't believe that you guys could do it, because I completely believe that you guys can do it. It's honestly just whether or not you want to make that mindset switch. I'm not saying that I feel like everyone should go indie fully and like literally start self-managing and doing everything by yourself. I don't think that's what I mean at all. I just feel like education is the key in many respects, not just in the music industry, but just in general. Like if you have education, if you have those resources to learn, that's actually going to educate your decisions and allow you to make better decisions going forward. And especially when those decisions are so intimately tied with what you're passionate about, what you want to express to the world, I feel like that becomes even more important to be informed about the decisions that you make. And so the second reason why the last episode of this season is about the value of independence is because going back to everything we've talked about, independence is central to all the themes that we talk about in this podcast. When we talk about social media, how to build your audience, why are we going behind the black curtain, which is the digital distribution industry? It's all to empower you to make those decisions for yourself, or to understand it so that you can ask the right questions, you can find the right people, and you can really make a difference in your own way and not just be led by someone else who you don't really know whether or not they have the answers you need. Because honestly, in this day and age, no one person, not even myself, has all the answers that you need on your journey. And the best way that you can empower yourself is to go and you don't have to be a walking encyclopedia. You just have to be smart, and you have to know who am I supposed to ask for what, and how should I present myself in a way where I can get the information I need, I can maintain those connections, and I can continue to thrive in this music industry or in this music business. Because at the end of the day, it is a business. So if you have a business mindset around this whole thing, I think it's gonna help you a lot. And I hope that with this podcast, I'm not telling artists to be 100% commercial and 200% have a business mindset. I just feel like, I hope that it's a balance. It's a balance where we approach these topics with a reverence to the creative part of the process. And then now that you guys have the creative part of the process down, you know what to do, you know what your sound is, we want to help you to then apply all of that to these tactics in order to become the most competitive artist in your niche or in the market that you want, or whatever, dream big. To me, independence is a state of mind. It's not any particular strategy or tactic or tip or subject. And that's why on this podcast, especially if you look at the resources that we provide, it's not really based on very, very specific skills. For example, what strategies you should employ on TikTok, or some very, very, very specific information about something related to the industry, like trends on Spotify or something. It's not really about that, because what we want to do is change your mindset, because independence is a state of mind. It's something that once you get the right mindset, once you get into the flow of doing it, you will feel more in control of your career. You will feel like you understand and you deserve that seat at the table. And to be empowered to make that decision for yourself just with this mindset, I feel like that feeling is like no other. It's really, really amazing what you can do once you have that different mindset. And so that's what I really wanted to achieve with this podcast. So that was it. For this episode, I kind of wanted to go back to basics and just have a chat with you guys, have a little spiel, share my little rant. But thank you so much, everyone, once again, for listening to this podcast. It honestly makes me feel so fulfilled that people are listening and people are gaining knowledge from this podcast, no matter where you come from or what your intention is. As long as it's good, as long as you are there to support artists or support yourself as artists, welcome. Definitely, if you have any more feedback for any of the episodes this season, please let us know. Like, maybe you can find us on social media, like on Asian Pop Weekly social media, just the Asian Pop Weekly on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Please share your feedback with us. We would love to hear it as we are planning for what we want to do for next season. And of course, along with this episode of the podcast, we'll be releasing resources for independent artists, how you can curate that state of mind through some certain resources. Like, we'll provide some links, and also we will do an independent artist case study on how they value independence and how that's helped them in their careers. So be sure to follow us on our socials to find out who that is. Once again, you can get all these resources on Asian Pop Weekly's Patreon page via the Level Up tier. This Patreon to me is really, really important because I have been running a music journalism website for the past over 10 years, coming to 12 years now. And from my perspective, I feel like the best way to create a sustainable website, at least for Asian Pop Weekly, is through subscription-based support. I don't believe in putting ads on my content, and I don't believe in sponsored content. And the reason for that is because I just feel like I need to put all of my time towards creating the content that I want to create and putting out the message I want to put out. Again, going back to that whole independence thing. And I feel like if anyone out there really, really loves our content, they really resonate with it, it really helps them, then please support us through our Patreon page. And obviously with the Level Up podcast, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like the resources that we put out there are really very valuable. So if you could even just subscribe for a month or two, see how it goes, that would really, really help us. And also it would support everything that we're doing with Asian Pop Weekly, both myself and our contributors. So please subscribe if you've enjoyed this season of the podcast. And I guess that is about it. Thank you guys so much. I'm very excited to take a little break. Not gonna lie. But we will see you when we see you. Thank you guys, and talk to you soon. The Level Up podcast is brought to you jointly by Blossoming Bridge Creative and Asian Pop Weekly. Be sure to follow on our socials at Asian Pop Weekly, and also check out our website if you're looking for more Mandarin or Asian music content. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and we'll see you on the next one.